Food for thought from Jeffrey Law. That's my name. Here we go. Alphabet soup. What I'll be discussing in the next will be multiple topics, and here's what the list is. Abolishment of all war, the arbitration administration of an all-world government, ban nuclear energy, benevolence, banking system, broadcasting, currency, climate change, compensation, criminal insanity, decommission all nuclear facilities, weapons power stations, the dissolution of all nations, the environment, the education, the ecology, engineering, freeze global currencies, free energy, false flags, flood water, fraudulent, fake inflated, government mind control, global warming, global footprint, health, halve the herd, which is about cows, high-speed rail, international security, international airports, international trade, justice, jurisdiction, Jesus, King of Kings, kingdom, Lord of Lords, law, micro, macro industries of the world, migration, minimum wage, mountains, 90-foot road, rail, residential, industrial line, 1,000 regions, oil industry, abolishment of fracking, off-grid housing, primary industries, PowerPoint, abuse energy system, and the Quran, regionalisation, reforestation, recycling of road rails and reclamation, sea levels, servitude, subsidies, scientific studies, social studies, taxes, global footprint tax, sales, UN dissolution, the United Nations resolution, changes his mindset to the Lord, vapes, vaccines, VD, viruses, water, flood water, contamination, deforestation, of all governments, one nation under God. Yes, there are 100 that need to be fixed. Zoological preservation of all species, Zion, zillions, and zebra crossing. Program what I call food for thought, and we're just going to have a little segment today is I'm looking at the abolishment of all war. And to do that, we need a global movement. We need a new global establishment and a new arbitration and amendments to all laws in all countries. We also anti-Semitic if you're anti-Israel. No, you're not. You're actually anti-murder. You're against those in a country that are killing their neighbours. The whole move now into abortion, I believe it's the woman's choice. It's something I would not recommend doing it. I think these young people in our world today that are getting pregnant early, they need to be looked after. We need to encourage them. We need to actually pay for these things so that they don't have to worry about money. You've got a third world attitude out there where kids are being aborted because they can't afford to feed them. Now we're going to move on to atheists. A quick shout out to atheists. Atheists need to boycott Christmas. They're anti-Christ, so why celebrate his come at his birth? And as I go, quickly say something in Afrikaans, Mag vrede op jou wees, which translates as peace be with you. Word in Arabic to all the people out there in Arabia, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin, Assalamu alaikum. Baby London, Jack, Little London, the financial institution of our world, that's bad. Married him would actually be able to send some suggestions to the current acting Prime Minister of New Zealand, the little monkey, about the changes you want to make to the treaty and how they can honour what the agreement already was. If they can do that, then we might move forward. I'd like to see the abolishment of all war, and we'll look forward to the reunification of mankind. For the Gen Z generation, that's American, spelled A-R-N-E-R-I-C-A-N, and un-American means to tell lies, to make stuff up, to be pretentious, pretend to go to the moon, pretend to have nuclear weapons. This includes pathological lies, false flags, fake news, and these. About a vape, talk to your kids about it. Don't get angry at them, take it off and throw it away, because it's going to do it behind your back. Talk to them about how the sugars in that vape are going to collapse their lungs. Show them stuff on the internet of people with breathing disorders. It's a coming problem for this planet. It's going to be worse than tobacco's ever been. Matthew 25:31, King James Bible. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he shall sit upon his throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats, which is where I come up with the word far goats, A-G-O-A-T-S. Another, for the next gen, they can have that word far goats in America today. Well, the future is basically off-the-grid housing. So boys, I think they've got 190,000 acres. They can actually build a whole city of off-the-grid housing. I'd suggest that those that can forget their past have a future. This planet needs to do, on top of the list, ban nuclear energy. It is mankind's greatest threat. For those of you who know how to use Google, put the letters BDS in and hit the enter. It stands for Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions, and it came about as a result of the illegal state of Israel's occupation. The next thing we need to take care of is the banking system. Interest rates came about as these money-hungry guys, money lenders, got greedier and greedier. Broadcasting. You keep broadcasting these lies, your boards are going to be disposed of. Baby London. That stands for Babylon. Bug-brained is a new word for the millennium. It means you got a smaller brain than a bird brain. What is climate change? Well, the conspiracy theory that's presented by the UN says that climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Such shifts can be natural due to changes in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruptions. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil and gas. Now, I got some comments from some actual scientists, never mind the UN pretentious bunch. Comments from Dr. John Clauser, the Nobel Prize in Physics. I assert there is no connection whatsoever between CO2 and climate change. That's a crock of crap. Those are his words, not mine. Dr. Willie Soon, astrophysicist of the Earth Sciences, said that as of 2023, the IPCC says the sun has no chance to explain changes in climate system. We say no, we can easily demonstrate it's 0% CO2 and 100% the sun. How's that? Professor Will Harper of physics, a physicist, he said that climate always changes. Who denies climate change? It's always changing. Patrick Moore, the co-founder of Greenpeace, said there is no truth that the Earth is warmer now than in the past. That's a lie. There is no truth that CO2 is higher than it should be. That is a lie. I then jump into the CGI that we're seeing on TV today. CGI stands for computer-generated imagery. It's frequently used by the mainstream media to depict rockets, particularly in news broadcasts, documentaries and promotional materials, space-related events. These images are often highly realistic. A classic example of the CGI recently was rockets allegedly launched by Iran at Qatar, the same CGI that North Korean rockets were. The American Air Base, which was being evacuated, you can clearly see the defence rockets, the same as the Iron Dome fireworks display. Then there's a CGI intercept of a fake rocket. So the new word for the new millennium is CGI telly. And Christ's enemies are those cowards that kill children. You know who I'm talking about. Criminal insanity. The ceasefire charades. Campavo Gladio Vici. That's Latin for I will conquer with a sword. And now I drift into the quote from Carl Sagan. This is a NASA scientist who knew they were pretending to go to the moon. He stated, "We've arranged a global civilization in which most crucial elements profoundly depend on science and technology. We've also arranged things so that almost no one understands science and technology. This is a prescription for disaster. We might get away with it for a while, but sooner or later this combustible mixture of ignorance and power is going to blow up in our faces." That's you, NASA. Into dissolution is the solution, one nation under God, and also the digital currencies and how it's causing global inflation. All those billions of dollars that have been poured into climate change research, have any of them been able to change the climate? No, they haven't. Now, all this flooding, and that comes down to there's no actual infrastructure being done. For hundreds of years, we haven't worked on the infrastructure, like, for instance, in the regions that get flooded. We've cut down all the trees. The water's now running straight off the land. No one's storing water anymore. It's what's running into these rivers. That's why we've got 200,000 tonne of dirt going into our ocean on a monthly basis. Boycott, divest and sanctions on those who supplied Hamas and their illegal state of Israel, mainly the United States of America. Sell, sell, sell all USA stocks, bonds and certificates. Governance of this planet is not the USA, and it's time to recognise what the word government means. To govern is to control, and the ment comes from the Latin, the mind, thus it is to control the mind. God was the Word, and it refers to John 1:1 in the Bible, which in some translations reads, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And then that Word became flesh.